Howdy, YouTubers. Today's video is going to be about online dating. I've had a lot of people send me messages over the course of the last few weeks asking me questions, how I met my wife and so forth. And finally, after corresponding with one gentleman through several emails, I decided, I'm going to make a video. So here it is. So if you're like a lot of men between the ages of 45 and 75, where do you start? The dating scene in the United States at my age is, man, it's slim pickings. Honestly, the good women are married. What's left? And I'm not saying that everyone is bad or anything like that. There just isn't a lot of women out there. And where do you go? Where do you go? I don't want to go to a bar to look for a woman, so Facebook, I don't know. For me, the logical choice was, let's try this online dating thing. And so that's exactly what I did. So if you're the male, like I said earlier, 45 to 75, you decide that maybe you want to try this online dating thing. The first thing you're going to have to decide is where you want to look for a girl. Do you want to look in Eastern Europe? You can. I wouldn't recommend Ukraine right now. But or you could look in South America. I've got friends in Colombia. You go to Colombia, Peru, whatever. A lot of beautiful women there. And you can look at Southeast Asia. And there's just a host of countries. Vietnam, Singapore, Cambodia. Vietnam, South Korea, China, Malaysia. Whatever trips your trigger. I chose the Philippines. Now, I had a little bit of help with that because I had dated a Filipina prior. So I knew about their culture. I had been to the Philippines a couple times. And even though it didn't work out with her, I knew that this was the country that I really like their women. I like that 95% of the country's Catholic. They don't believe in divorce. And they're very dedicated, very dedicated to their husbands. Very family oriented. So I thought, this is the place for me. So the first thing you got to do, say you choose the country, and I don't care what country it is, you choose a country. You Google that country and you can put the name of the country and dating sites. There's going to be a plethora of dating sites. I personally used one dating site. I won't say their name, but there are several for the Philippines. Cherry Blossom. Christian Filipina Cupid, whatever it may be, there's a plethora of dating sites. Whatever one you so choose, they all have some type of fraud protection, meaning if you report someone that's a fake account, so forth, they eliminate them. But we're going to get to that later because that's going to come after you're on that dating site. Trust me, okay? So you want to make yourself a profile once you figure out what sites you want to be on. When I chose the site that I did, I signed up for 90 days. I thought, well, I'm going to give it a 90-day shot. Now, I have a friend of mine actually in the Philippines. He signed up for a year. He found a girl right away. In fact, they're living happily together, but he says, well, I've got insurance. So all I got to do is pop on and try to find another one. And he says it in such a way that you just want to laugh. He don't mean it, in a negative way. It's very funny. And if he signed up for the year, he got a big discount. And I don't know. I'm sure the discount made him do the year. So, but I signed up for 90 days, and I would suggest that. I would suggest you sign up for 90 days. You go through your 90 days, and if you haven't found the girl you want, maybe you want to move on to another site, or maybe this isn't for you. It's not for everybody. But for me, it worked out well. And so the first thing you do is you put your name. Your first name, not your last name, your first name. Don't put in any pertinent information that anyone could ever use. If you want to, when you put pictures on your profile, put real pictures. Don't put pictures standing next to a 300 Mercedes or a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. All you're going to do is attract scammers. If you own one, fine. Keep it in the garage with the door shut. Don't tell anybody, But keep it real. Describe yourself. And I mean, when you sit down to describe yourself, don't give this bland description of, oh, I'm a wonderful guy and I have a great sense of humor. Really? What's a wonderful guy? I know what a great sense of humor is, but you might not be humorous in this country. So try to be descriptive of who you really are. You can tell some of your likes and dislikes. If you're going to talk about hobbies, don't tell anybody you're a trophy hunter, because most countries, they have no idea what a trophy hunter is, other than, by golly, I'm trying to remember that country, by New Zealand. They had trophy hunters there, but they hunted people. So, try to think beyond the box, so to speak. Don't go on there and say, well, I love jet setting around the country. That's just a red flag for scammers also. So be realistic and tell what you're looking for, what you're looking for in an honest woman, a caring woman, a family person, someone that you can trust and spend the rest of your life with. If you're not looking for that, tell them that. I'm looking for a date. I'm going to come to the Philippines in 6 months, and, I'd like to hang out with somebody. Tell them the truth. And then once you got that part of your profile made, you're going to go to, okay, what are the age groups? And actually, yeah, you can choose that. I chose between 40 and 60. And at that time I was 59 years old. And take a good hard look at that. You can look in these dating sites, and there's lots of beautiful, 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old girls. And notice I said girls. Most of them are girls. They're not women. And I know I'll get some heat from a couple of my friends when I said that, but that's okay. I was looking for a woman. I was looking for a mature woman. I wasn't looking for someone 21 years old, because I don't want to have 21-year-old problems anymore. And I'm not saying that if you meet a 21-year-old girl that you're going to have problems, but more chances than none, you're going to have some of that. They haven't been in the world and had the experience that you have had. So I live in a drama-free zone here. If you watch our channel, I'm sure you're familiar. I've said that before. I don't want any drama in my life. I don't want zero, none, zilch. I was looking for a good woman with a good heart. I wasn't looking for a girl that was 38, 24, 36. And, I wasn't looking for that, put it that way. I was looking for a good woman to spend the rest of my life with. And beauty's only skin deep. And, beauty only lasts for a while, but a wonderful heart lasts forever. So I knew what I was looking for. So I put my profile up just like you're going to do. And now what? Well, I got it next morning. I had 127 emails. Oh my gosh. So now I have to try to go through these and figure out, who do I want to talk to? And they keep coming in after that. That was just the first 127, because I had left my computer for 6 hours, and they just keep coming in. Oh my gosh. Now these girls are either they can't see so well, or you can probably see the direct resemblance to Kevin Costner. I just look different. So it was like, oh my God. So what I did is I got a notepad, and I started reading the emails. And then if I found one that was actually intriguing, that sounded legitimate, so to speak, from the heart, I would write that one down. And then I would just get rid of the other ones. And so I went through, and I had several that I did respond. When I responded, of course, I was waiting for their counter response to see what I was dealing with, because you have to use your head. Listen, I had never been exposed to this in my life. I was brand new. I was ripe for the picking for the scammers, but luckily I'm so cheap that they didn't get me too bad. Not that they didn't, but not too bad. So I meet a few girls. We correspond, and one got me for $100. And when she asked for the second $100, I cut her off, of course. And I learned real quick that, no, there is no money. There is no money. Because it could be endless with these gals. So no money. So if you start chatting with a gal and they tell you, well, I need money for a load, which in like say in the Philippines or around Southeast Asia, that is they buy data for their phone. If they need money for a load, that's just the start, and then it'll continue. Or if they need a phone, don't believe it. Every girl in Southeast Asia is born with a phone in their hand, and it's usually a really good phone too. Don't believe it. Don't buy it. They'll tell you they need money for this, they need money for that. Them are the scammers, and you have to be careful. Use your head. Think about what's going on. And I know that's really hard, especially if you're a middle-aged man, you're living alone, and you're a little bit lonely. When you get to be our age, it's like you almost become invisible. The only way you're not invisible is if you're funny. Thank God that I could crack jokes. Otherwise, I probably would have faded into the wall somewhere. But otherwise, you're pretty invisible. You're not a hot commodity in this country. In other countries, you are. And I know there's going to be guys out there that say the reason you're a hot commodity is because they want a green card, they want your money, and let these people say that. I know several good Filipinas and other friends of mine around the world that they're Filipino or they're a gal from the country, never even wanted to come to the United States. They just wanted to find a good man, a good husband. And in Southeast Asia, you've got one advantage, is that in Southeast Asia, their belief is that a man doesn't become a man until he's at least 50 years of age. They don't want boys. And the reason I say that is in a lot of them countries, there's very little child support. The men can go from woman to woman. They can walk out the door and start a new family tomorrow. And the gals are left hanging with the children and trying to make a living. There's no social programs like we have in the United States. They can't get welfare or child support or anything like that. So, these gals have grown up pretty hard that way. And they know what they're looking for also. So it's up to you to weed through the scammers, so to speak, and find the good women. So this is what I had done, and I went through this list, and I had emailed several, and some didn't respond, as others did. I had one gal that I'm sure she wasn't a scammer. She was a nice lady, but she had 4 children. I raised 4 children of my own and 2 stepsons. I didn't want any more children, so thought, well, she's a very nice girl, but this isn't going to work. And I told her so. Another gal that I had chatted with for some time, very nice girl. She was in Mindanao. She was not divorced. So there's no divorce in the Philippines at this point. So she would have to get an annulment, which could cost up to 5,000 US dollars. And I said to her, I wouldn't want to come and date a woman that's married, and I don't want to pay or wait for your annulment. I'm sorry, so I moved on. Well, then this one gal, she messages me, and we started messaging back and forth. And then finally we Skyped. And the second day on Skype, I said to her, turn your camera on. Because why? I said, I just want to listen to you. I don't want to look at you. I don't want to listen to you. Meantime, her mother's in the back room going, he thinks you're ugly. He doesn't want to see you. That was far from the truth. But so we chatted for a week, and I listened intently. And when I say chat, we didn't just chat. We chatted for literally hours online. And I listened. And then finally, after a week, I told her, turn your camera on. And that way, her beauty and her expressions didn't influence any longer what I was hearing. Because I needed to hear what I needed to hear. And looking at a woman's, she was gorgeous. It was confusing to me, put it that way. So I needed to do that. And it worked for us. I don't know if that'll work for you, but it did for us. And then, of course, we chatted for several weeks. But actually, in the first week or so of chatting with her, she told me she had a son. And I had to think long and hard about that. But I had already she was already kind of special in my mind, She had this son who was 9 years old. And well, Yeah, one more time, buddy. One more time. So we continued on. We chatted for 3 to 6 hours at a time. Lots. 5.5 months later, I was over in the Philippines on a beautiful beach with her. And I proposed to her on that beach. And now, 5 years later, we're living here in America. We've got a wonderful son that's going to be 14 in December. And life is wonderful. And that was all possible through online dating. If I wouldn't have taken the step to do this online dating, I never would have met Christine. I never would have met my wife. And she just happened to be the one. And I'm sure if I'd have stayed online and played the field, there'd have been many more. I was looking for one good woman. She was looking for one good man. And it worked for us. So when you hear all the scuttlebutt that they say on, don't get involved with a girl online. They're only looking for a green card. They're only looking for a way out. That's the farthest from the truth. In fact, I was listening to a friend of mine yesterday. He had a live on, and they were talking, and he said every Filipina that I ever met in America was divorced and found somebody with more money. And when I hear that, I just want to reach through the screen and choke somebody. Yesterday I was at a wedding. A friend of ours married a Filipina. In fact, there was 300 people at that wedding. It was a gorgeous wedding on a golf course. And dozens and dozens and dozens of Filipino women and their American husbands. And they're all happy. They're all together raising their families. At our table in particular, we have a friend, Jim. Him and his wife have been married 17 years. They're very happy together. And it's like, don't believe that stuff. If you're a good man, you use your head and you pick a good woman, there's no reason why your marriage or relationship should ever fail. If you're not, well, it might happen then. So it's up to you. You could say meet a gal in, say, Malaysia, for instance, and go there and live with her. And if it isn't a good relationship, it isn't going to last in Malaysia either. So use your head, and no matter where you choose to go, just think. Remember, you're on your intro page. No deep personal information, no financials, nothing like that. Keep it relatively innocent. You can disclose them things a long time later from now, because you're not even near there. Unless you're the kind of guy that walks into a bar with $100 bills hanging out of his pocket and said, "Man, I'm here." Well, you're ripe to be taken. Don't let that happen to you. Use your head. And no matter what country you choose, you can use my advice. It'll help you no matter where you go in the world. And with that being said, I'm sure my wife is going to put some pictures up in this video on our meeting, and a little bit of what we did, corresponding back and forth. In fact, during the pandemic, we were separated for 2.5 years, waiting to get to America. So we went through quite a bit to be where we are today and be happy. And if you like our videos, hit the like button, and please subscribe. And if you subscribe, send us an email and tell us who you are. Be more than happy to correspond. And if you've watched this video and you still feel like you're unprepared for online dating, send me a message. I'll help you the best way I can. I'll chat with you online, whatever it takes, so you feel confident enough that you can do the same exact thing that we did, because I'd like each and every one of you to be as happy as we are. And with that, have a great day. See you again.
Say something like you love me and make my day. like you always do. Hold my hand and look me in the eyes so I can tell you how I feel. Tell you how I feel.